Oh, what a derby game that was. As a neutral, we thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm guessing these Rovers fans here with me this evening would have done too. Welcome back to Rovers Walk. The question we're asking this week is, what grade do we give to the Blackburn Rovers transfer window of this summer? We've got these fans to give us their predictions. We want yours as well. Welcome to the quickest and most compact review of all things Blackburn Rovers on the internet. This is where Rovers... I haven't checked yet, but Harry, Mark, do you still have your voices enough to be able to talk to us this evening? How are you?
Yeah, just about, I think, yeah.
Hanging on there by a thread at sort of one point. We're good to
go. Two things before we get into the review of the derby. First of all, as a neutral, can I just say that was how a derby should be. Tackles flying over, managers going at it. Absolutely loved it. It's good to see a derby that didn't just filter out into player stadiums. And secondly, well done, John Eustace. Again, if you watch this, hats off to you. That is you've seen more of these games than I have, but I've seen Rovers teams go there and fold. And even when Burnley were dominating their first 15 minutes, tactically that was brilliant. Right, let's get into the footballing side of it. Although, welcome to our Rovers Walk. We're going to review the transfer window shortly, but we have to start with that derby. Harry, what did you make of it from a footballing spectacle?
Well, it obviously wasn't Rovers' best performance in terms of playing great football. But you got to say that we really, in terms of the way we set up to get something out of the game, we limited Burnley from having anything. I think after we went down to 10 or anything, even in the second half, I don't think they had a shot on target. So the way that we were able to limit a team that are full of ex-Premier League players to very few chances at all was really impressive. I was really, really proud of the lads of how they played. The lads who are new to a lot of lads are new to the country. A lot of the lads were playing their first derby. May not have known what to expect, but they matched the level really well. And I think we were unlucky not to win the game if the officiating was a little bit better. But I think we're more than happy with a point away from home.
Yeah, we'll come on to those decisions in a minute. Mark, there's some individuals we'll get into rate my take in a minute to mention, but who for you stood out in that game?
I think the obvious one was Owen Beck. I think it was to come in and make your debut in a massive derby game like that and perform like he did. That's got to be one of the best debuts I've seen. But like I said, to step into a big derby game with the tension involved, everything like that, that was a tremendous individual performance. But it was just an all-round resilient team performance. I think, as we mentioned, I think the last time we played at their place, it was before the World Cup break, and it stands out very much in my mind. And we got hammered there 3-0, and we just rolled over. But the way we dug in, as Harry said, we limited Burnley to next to nothing. So no, it was a fantastic team performance with 11 and 10 men in the end.
Let's talk about the refereeing decisions and the refereeing performance. Overall, Harry, how did you think he did as a referee? It's the first time he's refereed a derby of that magnitude. Taking away the obvious decision that went against you overall?
Well, I mean, the one thing you've got to say is the referees during the game don't have the benefits of the replay. But I mean, the disallowed goal is a horrendous decision. Whether he's trying to give a foul or an offside, both are wrong. If anything, it was a foul on Ryan Hedges rather than him giving a foul, and Dolan and both players are massively onside. I thought he was giving a lot of yellow cards that weren't necessary yellow cards. I mean, people will give a lot of people have a go at Gay for doing that. I mean, that is a yellow card in the rules, whether he knows the rules or not. But I do think his first one was a bit of a harsh booking. I even think some of the Burnley players, I thought Mesbury's foul, maybe that wasn't a yellow card either. I thought he was getting a lot of yellow cards out for no reason. He was really starting the game, which may have helped us really. But yeah, disappointed by his performance. And at the end of the day, they have robbed us from 2 points.
Yeah, I don't think the Burnley fan aspect saw it quite that way. What you were expecting to. Yeah, the referee made it a derby for me. As a neutral anyway, all those yellow cards flying out, it was inevitable. Someone was going to get a red. Just can you be critical of Gay, Mark? Because should he have pulled his head there? The captain should pull him in because he was heated, wasn't he? He wasn't.
Yeah, I think like you said, I think it was. I think the referee first and foremost set the players up to fail. I think he didn't handle the game very well at all, and I think Harry alluded to Gay's first booking was harsh to say the least. But I think knowing that he's already on that yellow card, it was obviously naive what he did. But again, he's new to the Championship, totally new league. Atmosphere like that. So yeah, he shouldn't have done it. Obviously, it's a yellow card, but as I said, I think the referee just set the players up to fail. I think massive derby game, full of thunder and passion. Can't take that out of the game. You just can't do it. So the referee had to understand the magnitude of the game. And I felt that the way he was brandishing the yellow cards, I think it was inevitable. Somebody from either team was going to get sent off by the end of the 90 minutes.
Now let's have a look at some of the takes, shall we, from the game. All very positive, as you would imagine. Even some Burnley fans saying that's the best Rovers side we've seen in a while. Not too many, but here are some of the Rovers takes. That's the one I want. There we go. Grit and determination, phenomenal effort from the lads to hold on to that down to 10. There were half an hour of play. Could have been different with 11 on the pitch, but credit to every one of them showed team spirit. Harry, do you think if you had 11 on, you'd have gone on to win that?
I think we had a good chance. I think we were the team that we had the better chances after they went down to 10. I know they had all the ball and they were making sort of half chances, but Ainsley Pears really had nothing to do. And I really like the way that even though we were down to 10 men, we were still pushing for that second goal when the chances were arise. We had a couple of nice ones where Yuki was able to break away from the defenders a couple of times. So we were still really giving it a go, but we knew that we'd set up really well, that we knew we had to be resilient. And we really had to pick and choose our moments when we go to a pick and attack. And we did nearly win at the end with a Travis shot that was just wide. But yeah, I mean, arguably we should have won it anyway. But I can have no complaints about the way we set up after we went down to 10 men. Because I think you've got to play. You've got to play that way when you know a team as attackingly talented, as much as I hate to say it, as they are. They've got players. They're talking about Kiele Osho being worth 40 million just a week ago. So we know the kind of firepower they've got in their team and strength in depth. So we had to sort of be really rugged at the back and really sort of watertight, and we were.
Absolutely. It wasn't like Pears was being peppered at all either, was it? Which you would expect in the derby last 10 minutes. Mark, this one highlights what you said already. Man of the match has to be Owen Beck. Really solid debut and kept Coluscio in his pocket. Some might have questioned at the start of that game Eustace putting him in for his debut in a game like this. I mean, it proved to be a genius decision in the end. But did you see that as positive man management for Eustace to say to young lads like Beck, look, this is how much trust I have in you. You are going to start in a game of this magnitude for this club. It can backfire, but do you see that as good man management?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one good thing with Eustace. I think his man management skills are very good. I think it showed that with a few of the players. I think even going, seeing Todd Cantwell's interview when he signed the other day, and he's the massive part that Eustace played. Travis has come out and spoke highly of him. He was on loan at Ipswich second half of last season. Eustace straight on the phone to him. I'm going to build my team around you next season, etc. So, yeah, I think he shows. I think he puts his faith in players. I do think, obviously, his hand were forced a little bit with the injury to Harry Pickering. I think we are very limited in the fullback positions anyway. But again, yeah, to put him in a game of that magnitude and perform like he did. But yeah, I think Eustace will. Yeah, I think he puts his faith in all of his squad, definitely.
These are the ones, just to quickly go through them. Not your business, Harry says, draw away from home in a derby match. What more could you ask for? After years of having the players crumbling these matches, it's a massive breath of fresh air. We Are the Rovers says, should have been a 2-1 win against such poor officials. I agree it was a second yellow based on the rules, but the officials were dreadful. I forgive Kay. And Gay learned a lesson today. Fresh into him, I think he needs a pass on this one. He's a class player. We've missed a unit like him. He's a much upgraded version of Sam Gallagher. Agree with all the above?
Yeah, well, I think to be fair to Gay, I think he probably didn't know the rule. It's not a rule in the league he played in. And I think if you bring a player over to the league, it's probably not one of the things that you'd even think to bring up. So yeah, I mean, he made the mistake. He'll know not to do it now. But yeah, can have no complaints from the game. I'm not having Sam Gallagher slander though. I was, you know me, I was always Sam Gallagher's biggest fan. I know he couldn't hit the back of the net, but I loved him, and he put on his story that he was watching the game and cheering us on. So I'm not having Sam Gallagher slander.
It's fair news. Right, and we also said we're going to review then the transfer window. It closed on Friday, just as you were starting to go to bed early for your big Saturday morning. Did you get Oasis tickets, by the way, any of you? Did you try?
No, I didn't. No.
We've got one Swansea fan that lost this week. Here are the spendings then of all the 24 clubs. So Rovers are 16th biggest spenders with 4 million euros spent, 13 million recouped. We all know who that can be attributed to. So when we look at the balance sheets, overall Blackburn are in the black, 8.56 million in the red. So you would. My question on this one is a tricky one. I'll phrase it correctly. The Venkies now have that money sitting in their accounts. There are people saying, well, we won't see any of that in January. But do we need to give them a bit more credit than what people are giving them? Because the money that I see has been spent well so far. There's been reinvestment in the squad where it's been needed. And you're selling players on for a higher price from what you've got them in for, which is a sign of a well-run club, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think they've been well advised. I think one of the biggest issues about the Venkies in the worst times is, admittedly, they know that they've made a lot of mistakes. But they were very poorly advised at the start. I think they've had some good advice. The kind of players that we've Eustace and the board have decided these kind of players they want, and the board have said, okay, we'll put the money in for you to go and get them. They've not been like, well, we're not going to go for this kind of player. You need to find a cheaper alternative. They have, and they've done that for a few years. To be fair, they have said, if you can find the man, we'll try and put the money in for you to get him. And there's a lot of stuff off the pitch that you can berate the Venkies for, and we don't need to talk about that now. But I would say that our transfer policy over the last 5 years or so has been pretty good, apart from the whole sort of not sending in paperwork on time. Apart from the actual players that we bring in have all tended to do pretty well, and our recruitment has been pretty solid for a few years.
Mark, let's have a look again at the players you did get in. I mean, it's really a bit bigger. That's not yours. That's not yours. That's not yours. There is it. There it is. You've only actually spent money on 3 players in game and Cantwell. And Cantwell only happened in the last week or so. And the goalkeeper, which the last 3 weeks on this channel you've all been crying out for, in Toth, I doubt any of you know much about him, so I won't ask you the question. But is that the last we're going to see of Pears in goal?
I think Pears will continue for now. I mean, again, I don't know too much of Toff coming in. I think he's quite a young keeper as well. I don't think he'll make an immediate change. I think he'll stick with Pears and see how he gets on. Obviously, I think if his form isn't quite there, I think again I don't think Eustace is afraid to make big calls and changes. But I don't see this guy coming in and going straight in goal personally. Obviously, they needed another goalkeeper in that was for sure. But you've got to look at obviously the players that we've brought in, and as you said, we've not spent an awful amount of money on a lot of those players. It's been really some good shrewd business. It really has. One of the best transfer windows I can remember.
Yeah, we mentioned Owen Beck. I mean, I can't get too excited each week talking to you about Owen Beck would have been a Liverpool loanee, so excuse me for that. But generally, that midfield in particular, Harry, from last year, where it was about containment, as we spoke about so many times, it's about not conceding. It has a more attacking feel to it, doesn't it? Cantwell, I mean, Vyman, Bristol City fans were laughing. Well, that's all you'll get of him from him this season. But there's reasons to be excited, isn't there, about how this midfield's going to look in a couple of games' time when it all starts gelling together.
Yeah, and I do think there is real great balance in that midfield as well. I think you look at players like Sondre Tronstad and Lewis Travis; they are they can be that combative defensive midfielder that breaks up the play and sort of gets it and gives it. John Buckley can be that deep line playmaker who's going to sit a little bit deeper, and your holding midfielder player gets the ball to him where he's going to try and pick those progressive passes. And then you've got the more advanced midfielders. We don't really know what version of Todd Cantwell we're going to get, but if we can get the version of Todd Cantwell that we saw at Norwich, then we're in for a really exciting player. And Kozia Dubry, I don't really know too much about him, but if he's going to play on that side of midfield, that's a real sort of dynamic, athletic winger that we're really sort of crying out for. We've got the kind of players that like Dolan and Hedges that they want to cut inside. They want to make him. They want to make shot creating actions. Whereas this young lad from Brighton looks a sort of traditional winger, quick turn of pace, and he's going to try and get a ball in the box, which I think is perfect for what we need for if we're playing with a big man up front.
Just on the Todd Cantwell one, finally, Mark, the Rangers fans were saying on the forums, well, good riddance to a bad attitude. He has been known at times to come with a more difficult temperament to manage. Do you think Eustace has got that in his locker to deal with people who perhaps sometimes, if it isn't going their way, will show their frustrations in a way which isn't helpful for the team?
I hope so. I think, like I said, I think it wasn't too long ago Cantwell were being quoted as a £30 million player. I think about 4 years ago. So something's not quite happened for whatever reason since, and I think he's been hit and miss. I don't think John Eustace would have agreed to the signing, or whoever's, if it's been his decision or whether it's been through the scouting. I don't think he would have taken that risk and gamble if he didn't think he could get the best out of him. Again, we talk about the man management skills. This is where it'll show. Obviously, if he comes in and starts playing well for us, again, you've got to look at the manager and go, well, he's getting the best out of this player here. So I think it's a very interesting signing, and it will be interesting to see how that one develops. But as I said, I'm pretty sure Eustace would not have taken the risk if he didn't feel he could get the best out of him.
Thank you. All right, last question on the transfer window then. We need a grade out of 10 from you. Harry, the maximum we've had is a 10 so far from Oxford fans and West Brom fans. We've had a 4 from Swansea fans. So, where are you going?
I think I'm going to say 8. I'm really happy. I'm really excited with the kind of players we bought in. I think we bought in more players than I thought we were going to, especially when we were about a month in and we hadn't signed a soul. To play devil's advocate, maybe there's a lot of unknown quantities. There's a lot of sort of we don't know. Can Gay, can Ahashi go and be those 15 to 20 goal a season strikers that you need to sort of be up there and competitive? We don't know if they are, then it could be a 9 or a 10. If Campbell is the version of Campbell we know he can be, it pushes that up as well. If Beck continues his form, he proved as a young lad from Brighton, we don't really know how good he's going to be. But there's a lot to be excited about. I think is the most important thing. We had a really good group, really good core, I think, as well. But we've added to it with a bit of flair and a bit of. I'm glad that we've sort of taken a bit of a risk, because I mean it can work badly, and these players can struggle to get up to grips with quite a physically demanding league. But if you get the payoff, then the results from it are exponential. So I think I'm going to go for an 8 for now, but I think it's definitely got the potential to be a 9 or a 10.
We will ask you about Christmas. Don't worry and play this back to you. Mark?
I agree with Harry. I was going to go with 8 myself. I think we've done some very shrewd business. But as we've just mentioned there, some of the players, we need to, like you said, come Christmas, we might have a different answer. It might go down, it might go up. But I think because of the business we have done and the amount of players that we've brought in, it looks exciting on paper. It looks, like I said, more attacking. Again, I go back to Eustace. I do think he'll get the best out of these players. But yeah, a lot of the players still not really too sure about. We don't know how they're going to perform. So I'll go with an 8 as well. But as I said, come back at Christmas and we'll probably have a better idea then, I think.
Okay. One last one. I want you to just describe to me where you were and what you felt like when Weimann hit that ball. Did you A, think it was going out? B, what was he doing? And then what was your immediate reaction? Harry, where were you and how did it feel?
The Burnley fans clearly thought it wasn't going in. It's a great video. Fans go away, and
I've watched that so many times.
I had it on repeat at work. It was, it's that's like poetry in motion. That is. Yeah, I mean, I was having the thought of the Oxford game when Mark Harris scored that worldie. I was thinking, when was the last time we scored a proper worldie? And I couldn't really think of one in sort of the recent few years. And then cometh the hour, cometh the man, Andy Weimann. I mean, it sat up so nicely for him, but still he had so much to do. And the way he hits it sort of just bends perfectly into that top corner. I couldn't contain myself. I was, it was a great moment.
Mark?
Yes, well, I was actually at Ewood watching it, so the Blues bar that they've got at Ewood, so I got a ticket for there. So obviously it was quite good atmosphere, it was buzzing, so it was a bit like delayed reaction, because stood there with pint in one hand, and you're watching it all unfold. Next minute it hits this shot, and then it felt like forever. But yeah, once it dropped in, well, it's safe to say I think a lot of the beer spilled everywhere, but it just went absolutely nuts. But yeah, that moment just will not forget. I've seen a lot of good goals. I can't think in a derby game as good a goal as that. in terms of world-class goals, two guys used to pop up with one or two absolute worldies, but to do that at their place as well, that was, as I said, I've watched it so many times back since. I'll never get bored of that, never.
It's that great moment where time sort of freezes.
Yeah.
And he can't, can he? Oh, he has. And then you just lose your mind. It's like, in a game of that magnitude as well, it was just
brilliant.
Well, in the pubs around Goodison, they had Arsenal, Brighton on and one TV that end, and your game on the other end. At the start, when it first went in, of course, they're all watching the Arsenal game, but when that goal went in, half the pub went and came over and watched that game. It was a beauty. Yeah, really enjoyed that game. Thank you both. Right, and when's the return leg in January, is it?
Yeah, January the 4th.
Oh, right, okay. Look forward to that one. Right, cheers for joining us on Where Rovers Walk. Comment below again your thoughts on the derby, and do you rate it a 10 out of 10? Is 8 too harsh? Time will tell. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Mark. And we'll catch you the other side of the international break. Bristol City next, the Andy Vyman derby. Look forward to that. City hitter. Another world against the Stormy Club. Cheers, fellas.